You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And aloha, America. Welcome to our show today. It is Tuesday, August 20th, and getting into the week here. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443, 800-313-9443. Mike is in our control room, ready to put you on the air with your comments, questions, and observations. So let's get right on into it. And we're first going to take a look here at what's going on over in Jeffrey Epstein land. Cyril Wecht is a very well-known pathologist. He has served as an expert witness in a lot of cases, and he has released a statement saying that it would be impossible for Jeff Epstein to have broken those bones in his neck, given the position. We're told that Epstein used to strangle himself, which we're being told that he basically tied around his neck, then around the bed, then leaned forward on his knees, which I don't buy that anyway, because as soon as you lose consciousness, you're going to flop over on your side, the ligature is going to release, and you're going to wake up. So apparently it turns out that Epstein signed a new will just 2 days before his supposed death. And apparently one of Bill Gates' ex-advisors is one of the executors, which came as a bit of a shock here. So the whole story is just fishy as all get out here. Now, Prince Andrew is back in hot water. The Queen's angry at him. Apparently, after all the denials that were coming on out, apparently the Mail obtained a 2010 video showing Prince Andrew inside Jeff Epstein's New York home, waving goodbye to a young woman. And so that has definitely pardon me, raised the speculation that Andrew may be in trouble over this. So Attorney General Barr has now fired the prison's chief over this Epstein case. And apparently this was in response to Representatives Gerald Nadler, chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, and Doug Collins, ranking member of the House Judicial Committee, sending a letter to the acting director of the Bureau of Prisons, Hugh Hurwitz, to demand answers as to just what happened. Now, it's recently come on out that the so-called prison guards, one of whom was not actually a corrections officer, for some reason that night were not doing their rounds, and they tried to falsify the records. And so again, it's just a bizarre story here. All righty, so let's see. Joe Biden, of course, is leading in the polls right now. And interestingly enough, back in 2008, he was telling people he was too old to run for president again. And he assured Barack Obama that he was not going to use the vice presidency as a leverage for a run at the White House. But I guess he's changed his mind, because he's back out there in the running. And even though he's made some gaffes, he seems to be doing very well in the polls. In fact, he just came out with his first campaign ad against Donald Trump, describing the president as erratic, vicious, and bullying. So that's a little bit interesting there. Okay, so let's see. I'm trying a new way of organizing the talking points today. All righty. Tlaib and Omar are out there in the news. They're comparing Israel to 1972 apartheid South Africa. They're doubling down on the Israeli attacks, and basically they're still responding to the fact that they were not allowed to visit Israel. And Ilhan is now out there suggesting that the United States defund the Jewish state, which I'm sure a lot of people would agree with. It's not like they really need the money. They just want it. And Ilhan Omar has called Ben Shapiro a fool and hateful. So, okay. Apparently, there are now. Oh, we have a caller on the line. So let's go to the phones here. Chance in West Virginia. Aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hello, Mike. Well, it looks like they're wrapping up the whole Epstein ordeal. They found their scapegoat. They're probably gonna. No mention of Clinton, which means Hillary will throw her hat in the ring soon. Be on the lookout for that.
Yes.
They might give a couple of lenient sentences to those two idiot guards who both fell asleep at the same time.
I'm wondering if they were drugged. I wonder if somebody drugged them.
Really doesn't matter. This is what they wanted here. They threw this one guy under the bus. So now it's all coming to a close. We're not gonna get any indictments, no convictions. Hillary will jump out with her cape in a couple of months and say to save the Democrat Party, and I see it all coming down.
Yeah, well, I think the important lesson of the Epstein case is it's another reminder to the American people of the extent to which we are lied to by the government, by corporate media. And polls are showing right now less than 1/3 of Americans think that Epstein actually did commit suicide.
And you know what, Mike? I'm starting to doubt whether even bones were broken in his neck. Maybe that was falsified too to make it look like he's dead. Now I'm convinced he's sipping a Mai Tai in Tel Aviv right now. They got their scapegoat, and this is it. It's going to be closed. Don't be surprised. And Hillary will come back. That's the main thing.
That's the part that worries me. That is definitely the part that worries me. Okay.
Remember I told. That's what we'll see. Okay, Mike. Goodbye now.
All right. Thanks an awful lot here. And turning now to Syria. It looks like we may have a full-on shooting war between Syria and Turkey. And apparently Syria has launched airstrikes against Turkey's invading army convoy. Now, remember, the backstory to this is when Turkey was sort of kind of on our side, they went in and they basically took control of a couple of cities near the border with the assurances that when it was all over that they would leave. Well, it's all over. They're not leaving. In fact, now they're saying they want to generate a buffer zone to protect Turkey from the Syrian Kurds. And the Syrian government is saying, no, don't you do that. So Turkey basically has started an incursion into Syria, and Syria is fighting back. So that looks like that could get very, very serious. Yeah. Pardon me. Okay. Apparently, over at the Navy, they're having some problems. And we had a caller yesterday who called in to talk about how the Navy is planning to build the world's largest robot warship, 330 million pounds, to patrol the most dangerous seas. Well, it's nice that they're thinking about doing that, but apparently, despite record budgets, the U.S. Navy is short hundreds of millions of dollars for maintenance. They're not able to properly take care of the equipment they've already got. And apparently, they've got a huge maintenance backlog. That's not a good way to be starting a war. All right, we're going to take another phone call. This is from Tony in Puerto Rico. Aloha, Tony. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, aloha, Mike. I'm sorry to change the subject a little bit. I just wanted to talk about those signals that are coming from deep space. Now, my question is this: is it might be coming from another planet?
Well, you're talking about the fast radio bursts, right?
Yes, the FRB. Yes, the FRBs. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, nobody really knows where they're coming from. They're extraordinarily powerful. They're very regular signals, which means they're not carrying any kind of meaningful data. And so far, the prevailing theory is they're being generated by a celestial object called a magnetar, which is a very dense star spinning in a magnetic field. But there's a lot of radio energy out there in the universe, and if you know how to listen for it, it can tell you all kinds of interesting things.
Okay, so it's not coming from a starship.
Not that we know of, no.
All right, thank you, Mike. Take care.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go. All right, speaking of Hillary Clinton, and I am concerned that she is making an effort to stay visible in the media. Apparently, Hillary had a conniption fit when Trump shared Google's 2016 interference report, and the author of the report basically contradicted her on some of the claims being made about where it was coming from. And now even the U.S. government is admitting that there was no Russian interference. The state governments, the state election boards are saying, no, nobody was trying to break into our election system from Russia. In fact, there was only one interference reported by one state, and that was an IP address the FBI had already warned them about. So anyway, getting back to the war zones here, Iraq has now closed its airspace even to U.S. coalition flights after a suspected Israeli raid. So things are getting very tense over there as well. All righty. Let's see. All right. Iran is getting ready to escort the Adrian Darya 1 oil tanker in the Gulf. This according to their Navy commander. And basically, they renamed the ship after it was released from Gibraltar. And Gibraltar released it despite pressure from the United States, saying they didn't really have a reason to keep it. So Iran is probably going to be escorting it. It is currently headed toward Greece. The United States is now wagging their fingers at Greece and saying, if you give this ship any assistance, pardon me, you are aiding a U.S. declared terrorist organization. So it must be very, very frustrating for the United States government where all of a sudden more and more of these places like Greece and Gibraltar, they're just not listening anymore. So, okay. Apparently, over in Russia, the U.S. sanctions have backfired, and it's led to a boost in Russian oil exports. This is according to Bloomberg. And basically, they're saying that the Russian companies raked in an additional $905 million between November and July. So, bad thinking. What can we do? Bad thinking. All righty, let's do this and slide down the page here. Bad day on the Dow, bad day on the stock market. Not as bad as some that we had last week, but definitely making a lot of people very, very nervous. They think the slide is over. We had some gains. Nope, back down again here. So anyway, okay. More than 40 people have been charged in federal court from the Mississippi ICE raid, but they did not charge any of the company officials. And This despite information in federal search warrant affidavits suggesting company officials knew their workers were undocumented rather. This was at a Mississippi chicken processing plant, and that's a Title 8 violation. And if you're not going to enforce the law, companies are going to go on hiring undocumented workers. So it's really not working. Okay, we got another caller on the line. Dustin in New Jersey. Aloha, Dustin. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I was going to talk about Trump, but I'll skip Trump and talk about Syria with that, was it Tel Shakun area?
Yes.
From what I heard, Mike, there was no Turkish soldiers killed. These were like Islamists that were brought in to reinforce because they're kind of hurting, and their supply lines are getting cut short. And I know the Syrian bombed them. The Russians didn't bomb them, but most likely the Russians okayed the Syrians to bomb them because of Turkey. You know,
Yes.
Because there's a lot still going on with Turkey. You know, I think that Erdogan he's like stuck between like failing United States getting along, and he can't afford to get not along with Russia at this point, you know. And
No, he can't.
but Mike, he can't fail to get along with the Islamists either, because he's stuck between a rock and a hard place with them, because he supported them
Yes.
along with the British, you know, so he doesn't want them all trickling back in his country, but he's stuck with them kind of supporting him, but he's in bad shape, you know, like I don't know what he's going to do, but I mean, those guys can't go back into Turkey. So I'd say he should just they should all just kill them all. I mean, you're going to have to, because these are the diehard last remnants in Idlib, you know, and there's just they're not going to give up. You know, they're not dropping their weapons, because remember they all dropped their weapons.
Yeah, I've lost count of how many times they've had a ceasefire that lasted, less than a week.
Yeah, and Mike, and skipping over to Russia, what do you make of Macron basically now bringing Putin over to that castle on was that an island on the coast, and getting buddy along? Do you think Macron needs some love right now? Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's certainly not very popular among his own people, though. It's not being covered by the corporate media, but those yellow vest protests are still continuing.
Yeah, I mean, and don't forget, Mike, when all the sanctions and stuff was put on Russia for all this bogus crap, the French farmers just had they just had a nightmare. You know, their cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the cheese? Oh, I mean,
stuff was rotting in the fields there. I remember they went into the French government buildings, and they were literally dumping rotted food and manure on the steps in protest.
And I don't think France ever recovered, Mike.
I don't think they did. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody's recovered. The global economy got slammed, and it's still limping along.
But they need Russia for their markets. The French was pretty big in Russia for the markets until remember with the Mistral ships
Yes.
and all that, and one thing I got to tell Putin, if he's listening, you can't trust Macron or any of these people. Now, I'm not talking about the French military, but it's these politics, because you know what's going to happen? I saw that Macron says he'll go to the May 9th celebration, but
Yes.
that's a long way away, and things can happen between now and then.
I agree.
And I just don't think he can trust I don't think the Russians can ever trust the British government ever. I mean, the British are dirty trickster, the government.
Yes.
I don't think they can ever trust them. And Mike, and what do you make of the United States, the missile tests of the intermediate range, and then they already had it going all along. This whole thing was a fraud with the Russia breaking the treaty and
Yeah.
all that.
All right, Dustin, I'm going to have to put you on hold. We got to take a break for commercials, and we'll be right back.
Republic Broadcasting Network depends on listener support of our advertisers and of our sponsors. We'd like to especially thank all of you who have taken advantage of our fundraiser with FrontSight Bonus. Those who are now FrontSight members, please train as soon as possible for your sake and for that of our nation. And please consider sharing your training and what you've learned when you arrive home. Republic Broadcasting Network has to stop promoting this fundraiser on air and on the website in just a few days. Dr. Ignatius Piazza, president of FrontSight, made a gracious exception to his no media rule for us at Republic Broadcasting Network. Thank you, Dr. Piazza. And once you've been to FrontSight, feel free to call your favorite host and share your experience on the air. We can continue this fundraiser without media help, but it'll be totally up to the listeners to spread the information. Please call Dan Sutterfield in Missouri at 573-465-2356, 573-465-2356. That's 573-465-2356.
As a listener of RBN, you're surely concerned about being informed and being ready for whatever may come. Please consider the following questionnaire as a soul-jarring wake-up call. If you answer no to more than 2 of these following questions, you probably aren't going to make it through any major disruption in our country. The questions were compiled by people that have been there. Are you really ready? Do you own your own firearm for the primary defense and protection of you and your loved ones? Have you ever been professionally trained to stand against life-threatening behavior? Have you ever practiced enough to fire 500 rounds during a 2 to 4 day time frame, day and night? Can you load, unload, fire, and clear a jam in total darkness? Have all the adults in your household been professionally trained? Are you, life and death, comfortable with your abilities with pistol, revolver, shotgun, and rifle? Are you aware that everything that you do to prepare for an emergency is a waste of time, money, and energy? If you haven't honed your abilities to their highest level to protect and keep what you have, do you have the repair parts that will most likely be needed for each of your firearm? And do you have the ability to install those parts? Could you completely clean every firearm you own? Are you aware that your body won't go where your mind hasn't been? In other words, without proper training, followed by regular practice, you probably will not win a gunfight. Well, how did you measure up? Take the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to start correcting your deficiencies by receiving your Commander Lifetime Membership with FrontSight Firearms Training Facility. A one-time donation to RBN for $500 will give you a Commander Lifetime Membership at FrontSight as a tremendously huge thank you bonus. See details on RBN's webpage to make it happen. The clock is ticking. You had better be ready before it happens.
Welcome to What Really Happened Radio. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. And now, set your eyes on the future and let's consider what really happened.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show. And before we get back to Dustin here, I want to add a postscript to the FrontSight Academy and training. I myself tend to be a pacifist. I don't like violence, except when I'm doing special effects in the movies and then I want things to go bang. But the reality is, we're seeing a lot of violence come to the streets of America. We're seeing white people specifically being targeted. And I don't want to see people out there in the streets shooting at each other. But I think at this point, having a firearm and being trained to use it is a good idea. I mean, that was normal life when I was a kid. You got a gun at 12 years old. You were taught how to use it. That was just normal. We've sort of fallen away from that, and I think it's time that we got back to it. Anyway, Dustin, where were you?
Yeah, I was talking. Well, Trent went over to talking about how the United States tested the land-based intermediate range missile, and it came out so quick, though, didn't it? We already had.
Yeah, they were good to go. They were good to go. They had that thing already built.
And Mike, remember that satellite photo? It was either at Raytheon, right, or Lockheed Martin, where they showed the building was already being built. It was almost finished because they said the Russians violated with the 9M729 missile, which has a 500-kilometer limit, which is what, 380 miles or something like that, or under 400 or something like that. But it was all a fraud.
Yes.
We don't keep any treaties. We broke the treaty with the American Indians. We broke the other, what's the treaty? The anti-ballistic missile treaty under Bush.
Yeah.
I mean, and probably going to break the start. Man, I hope they don't break this. But probably going to break that treaty because
Yes.
John Bolton don't like the treaties at all. So this
No,
whole
he
thing was
doesn't.
a fraud. You know, and now did you see they're going to have the Space Command September 29th or something?
Yes.
I mean, why? Like, what's the point? Like, why? I don't understand why they're putting all the money into this crap now when they get all this money already, and no talk of infrastructure still. Nothing.
It's the military-industrial complex, and Eisenhower did warn us. It has become so politically powerful and financially powerful, it can basically skew the government to keep pouring more and more money into these weapons programs. And as we're seeing from that earlier article, they don't even have the money to take care of what they've already bought. They just want to go ahead and buy more.
Yeah, did you see some of our ships? They're kind of rusting on the sides. I never seen them looking like that. And the British and the French ships don't look that great anymore, and neither. But I'm like, Mike, you realize like all these bridges that are rusting and railroads that are just not good shape, and they just don't. Like I said yesterday, they don't care about us. They just rather keep their own game going. And if a bridge collapses with people driving over, oh well, I mean, I think that sums it up, right? I mean,
pretty much.
All right, Mike.
And there are a number of bridges and dams in the United States right now which have been deemed to be substandard and at risk. And Dustin's right. They're being ignored and neglected, just like those old Navy ships. The rush is to grab more money and give it to the defense contractors and build new robot warships and new intermediate range nuclear missiles and have all these really cool toys to play with until somebody makes a dumb mistake and kicks off World War III for real. Okay, we're going to start with John in Tennessee. And John, I'm going to have to take you through the commercial break. What's on your mind?
Well, first of all, whoever Attorney General Barr fired from the Bureau of Prisons or whatever.
Yes.
That whole thing is such a joke. I mean, it's almost like some kind of smokescreen or something. Heads will roll. Remember all the tough talk after
Yes.
he was dead? It's not the same as Hillary going to jail. It's not the same as Comey going to jail. But somehow these people that watch Fox News just laugh it up like, yeah. It's like, no. I mean, where's the real crimes are the things that everything happened in the Russian hoax, and I'm wondering if they'll even go back to it.
Well, Jeffrey Epstein, I mean, just like Prince Anthony's already finding out, Epstein had the goods on everybody. He was running a massive blackmail operation. And if Epstein really has been killed, it runs the risk of his dead man switches being allowed out. And the big question now is, who has got Epstein's blackmail files? Because they're going to be a power in the world.
Right. Well, and that is quite a game that can be played. There's no doubt about that. But I'm just saying that them putting it out there that heads will roll. It's like we wanted heads to roll for the last 2 years over the Russian hoax and all the billions of dollars wasted on that. And the bottom line is Hillary's not going to jail for Uranium One. And I mean, go back to the death of the ambassador. I mean, all the crimes we've seen over the last decade, none of these people are being held to account, but we're all supposed to be satisfied.
No, they're not. It's like that story we did about the ICE raid. They arrested all the illegal immigrants, but none of the company executives. John, stay on the line. We got to take another break for commercials. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds, up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield Tactical Bipods. AirOutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more. Plus mag-full clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AirOutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AirOutfitting.com.
Some are maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far 5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. I bet you can't make it here anymore.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. Here we're talking with John in Tennessee, and we're talking about the reality that there does seem to be a strata in our society above which you are immune from prosecution. And no matter what you do. And we're talking about the Uranium One deal. That went nowhere. A lot of people are still looking at the Clinton Foundation as not really being a charitable foundation. Nothing happens there. Again, as we reported earlier, ICE raids a chicken processing plant and arrests the illegal immigrants, but not the company executives. So, yeah, it's very frustrating because we wanted to see people go to jail for, well, like the murder of Vince Foster and the rest of it.
Well, and you remember right before this whole Epstein thing happened too, didn't all the Bruce Orr stuff had just come out?
Yes.
So I was watching Sean Hannity, Sebastian Gorka, and all these guys just go into just, I mean, I don't know what kind of mode you want. People must go to jail. And you're all, I mean, we've been doing this for 2 years, but the people must be going to jail, but we were doing it for 8 years before that with Obama. But I wanted to make another point was, you know, a lot of us picked up. You remember when the squad went up against Trump, you know, go back to where you're from.
Yes.
You know, a lot of us think the fact that these totally four insignificant of zero status freshman congresswomen were dominating the news. Everybody saw that for what it is. It was who are you people and you get the national spotlight. And yesterday, because of this whole trip to Israel, on, off, ban, you know, that was 1/3 of Fox News broadcasting yesterday was all about that. And it was just basically, if you don't agree with Israel, if you're not Israeli first, you're an anti-Semite. I mean, it dominated their entire day. Every news broadcast, the first 20 minutes of the hour was about those two Muslim congresswomen being denied access to Israel. And then Geraldo was on with Martha McCallum that started her show an hour before Tucker. They ended up cutting his mic because he went into apoplexy because he's always about the Palestinian or about the Israeli occupation, and he gets passionate about it. But they ended up cutting his mic, you know. So I mean, it was just more pro-Israeli propaganda. But again, you had half of the squad, these two totally insignificant women, one of who did the mother effer comment, right, at her campaign rally or whatever. These people get the national spotlight, you know.
Well, it does feel like they are being used as a distraction. And yeah, they don't deserve the attention that they're getting. I think the reason they got the attention was the shock value. That Americans are not used to seeing members of Congress and the president, openly hurling insults at each other.
Well, you remember when Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer went over to the White House? Remember that whole thing? I mean, those were all heavy hitters, and that was something we kind of wanted to watch. But this with these congresswomen. Now, I would also say, too, and I'm not following it enough, but I don't know that AOC is going to stick her nose in there. You know, because if she wants to be relevant, she wants to be around the next 4 years or whatever it is, she better stay out of it. I think that Nancy Pelosi pulled her aside and go, we have a good use for you in your loud mouth, you know, and if you want to stay in Congress, you better not stick your nose where it doesn't belong. I'll tell you when to get out there and make a stink, right? So we're all getting played by these characters, but like I said, at the end of the day, the real corruption, the high crimes, none of these people are going to jail. They're the political elite. They're exactly what John Locke wrote about, going, when we see our leaders as just absolute hypocrites and criminals, that's when we grab the pitchfork and go, you know what, you guys got to get out of here. You're no longer serving the people. We put you in there, but all you've done is serve your own self-interest, get rich, and stab us in the back. And it's gotten to that point in this country again. And what are we getting? We're getting the sideshow with the squad and everything else.
Yeah, it is. It's theater. It really is theater. Yeah. And, back when this country was starting, before the age of radio and TV, campaigns were about political ideas. And today it's all show business and, who's got the fancy. Remember the big stink when Sarah Palin, they literally borrowed these high-end fashions for her to be seen in on the campaign trail, and then she got upset at the end of the campaign when she had to give them back.
Yeah, right. I completely agree. I mean, all these people are. Yeah, you're right. They're actors in a theater, and they all have their role. And I get it. Some of the people will squeeze through and get elected to office. But no, once they're in there, boom, the handlers jump on them. And then working with the media, it's all theater. And what's really sad is, like you just said, the campaigns and it's not about ideas anymore. The people are so dumbed down. All they're doing, they're watching Trump like it's watching the Kardashians, and they're taking sides. And it's like, you don't give a rip about the country. None of you people are even thinking about how un-American all of this stuff is.
Well, what the problem with the elections is? You know what the problem with the elections is? Somebody has to win. We have to accept somebody from that stable of farm animals. And I think this country would be a lot better off if we had a binding none of the above on the ballot and say, No, you want our vote, you go get us a candidate that makes sense.
Well, and how many of us didn't vote? I mean, honestly, how many of us didn't? I mean, I watched you go through your whole thing where you were like, and then watched you get all disappointed in Trump, but I stopped voting. I mean, you're not. It's a select. I mean, and it has turned out to be a selection. I mean, Trump is like a Hitler figure. That's what he is. He's up there. Every one of his rallies, he's got a whole sea of blue-collar white people back there. And now the Democrats can go off the rails yelling white supremacy out in broad daylight, which is the dumbest thing they've ever said. Because you know what? We're the guys who are anti-war. We're the guys waving Madeleine Albright and the 500,000 dead Iraqis in your face. The people that killed the children look like white supremacists, not the people that want 9/11 truth and the people that don't want the wars. We're not the white supremacists. You guys are trying to genocide Arabs based on their religious beliefs. We're not the white supremacists here. We don't want the wars, you know? We're making all the sense in the world, and they're scared to death of it.
Yes.
So, all right, well, you have a good, safe move. When's the Indiana move taking place, by the way, physically?
Well, most of our furniture is already on the cargo ship. We shipped the car Friday. And there's a lot of stuff here, like cables, wires, that's got to be packed up here. We're going to be going to a hotel on the 27th and staying there until our flight leaves on the 31st. And I got to tell you, I don't ever want to go through this again. I mean, it's one thing to do a monster move when you're in your 20s and 30s. Yeah, you know, I'm a week away from being 67. Claire is pardon me. Claire is 70, and I've never been so tired in my life, and I'm just completely worn out.
I hear you. Okay, well, hopefully we can get you by the Indy 500. What do you think? I think it'd be worth an event to go to.
Yeah, that would be fun, you know, and I'm still trying to learn what Indiana has. Of course, they have Santa Claus, which is where we're going to be staying initially. I'm sure this...
If we could pull it off, I'll come up from Tennessee. We'll get some pick passes, and you can enjoy one of the races if we can get close up. Because there's really the technology there and stuff. And Roger Penske's a legend. The Indianapolis 500 is still worth.
Yeah. Yeah. Believe it or not, both of my parents were race drivers. They did hill climb, rally, and then a friend of my father's got killed, and they quit, realizing that they were parents. But I remember when my mother passed away and I was cleaning out her house, just boxes and boxes of racing plaques and awards. And she was a gearhead. I mean, she found and restored that 1952 MGTC. I helped her do it. She did the coach work and the upholstery, and I did the powertrain.
We had a family member that actually grew up in Watkins Glen, New York. They used to run that race up and down the streets in that town.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, let's go get some ice cream. And then the car would go right to the ice cream store. Oh, that's a bad idea.
Yep.
You know, so, I mean, American racing, it's one of the things we got. And the Indy 500 never disappoints. It really doesn't.
Well, we'll see. I mean, you know, right now, Claire and I just have to focus on getting the rest of our stuff shipped or thrown away or donated. And, you know, again, I've never been so exhausted in my life right now. Anyway, listen, John, thanks an awful lot for the phone call. We're going to let you go. We're going to get back here to the economic news. There's a big stink being raised over the farm subsidy program and the bailouts, and the fact that most of that money tends to go to rich people who don't really need it. But they've bought up a lot of farmland. They're not farming it, so they get the subsidies. And it's just another way of ripping off the government and the taxpayer. All righty. Apparently, the Federal Reserve wants to create a new payment system. And they're sort of talking about it off to the side in the middle of this new rate cut. But they're looking for a patch is what they're doing. They can't make the economy work again. So they're looking for a patch, a Band-Aid. So, apparently, Americans' yearly spending on drugs now equals that of alcohol. And there's been a recent surge in oil and gas bankruptcies. There's a surge in bankruptcies in general. Okay, Trump has made the first demand for the Federal Reserve to restart quantitative easing, and he's urging a 100 basis points rate cut. That's major surgery. Okay. And I already mentioned about the sanctions backfiring. So we're seeing higher bonds, higher stocks, higher precious metals. Well, not today, we didn't see higher stocks. And the central banks, they're thrashing around. Cashin warns if bond yields move lower again, stocks could resume down. Well, that may have been what happened today, because it did go down. Not a lot. But the reality is that most people are totally unprepared for the next recession. So we're hoping that we are going to get settled into Indiana with our paid-for car before everything starts falling apart. All righty, let's see. And let's see. We already talked about the ICE raid. Okay, over in Great Britain, the European Union is complaining to Great Britain because Britain said yesterday it would end the European Union freedom of movement rules immediately after it leaves the bloc October 31st. In other words, that Schengen is going to be gone. They're going to put gates on the tunnels, and they're going to choose who is allowed in. Now, the EU is screaming bloody murder about this, as are all the globalists. But Boris Johnson is saying the country is not going to be hostile to immigration. I just think they want to have a more selective approach to it. Okay. Article from the Ethan Allen's website, The Enemies of Our Civilization. And it's talking about the left, how it's the most dangerous ideological phenomenon in the history of mankind. It glorifies poverty, the total state, and mass death. Boy, that sounds familiar. I believe when we were still dealing with the Soviet Union, I think it was Andrei Malraux who said that socialism is not a doctrine, but a will to feel proletariat. So apparently, according to this article, the left wants to destroy our current Western civilization based on Christianity, traditional family, and the free market. And basically, yeah, they're aiming towards socialism. We've seen it for a long time. Commies out there here. All righty, let's see. Apparently, the global warming fanatics did not get the drought in India that they were predicting. Another little failure there. Now, here's an interesting little story, and it gets back to that article that we were talking about, the left wanting to destroy Western civilization. Apparently, the Chicago's Teachers Union sent some representatives down to Venezuela for a visit and a tour, and they came back singing the praises of socialism. And apparently now they're going on a propaganda tour to propagandize and sing the praises of Venezuelan socialism. Okay, apparently the Proud Boy members face up to 15 years behind bars after this Manhattan brawl with Antifa. Oh my goodness here. Another article, this one is out of Investment Watch blog, the government is preparing to label anyone who disagrees with the mainstream narrative a terrorist. Now, call me old-fashioned, but to me, a terrorist is somebody who commits an act of terror. They go out with a bomb, they blow it up. They take a car, they run into a crowd. They take an airplane, they crash into a building. To me, that's an act of terror. But apparently, the definition is being changed. And anybody who simply disagrees with the mainstream narrative, oh, you must be a terrorist. No. I may be contrary and irritating and obnoxious, but I'm not a terrorist. So, pardon me. Oh, and it's time for another break. We'll be right back after these few words.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. We here at RBN are working with Front Sight Firearms Training Institute to bring our audience the best in combat, tactical, and defensive firearms training. Whether you're a private citizen who is new to firearms, or you have a concealed weapon permit and want a level of training that surpasses what you've received from your local gun range, Front Sight provides priceless education and skills taught by seasoned law enforcement, military, and private citizen instructors to levels that far exceed law enforcement and military standard. With nearly 1 million responsible citizens trained from every town, city, and state from across the United States, Front Sight has bolstered the Patriot movement to a whole new level. Contact Dan Sutterfield by phone at 573-762-2356 or 573-465-2356, or shoot him an email at domedan, DOMEDAN, at hotmail.com. This is a limited time opportunity. Don't miss it.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. It really does work like the review says it does. I cannot believe that after the first few days, I didn't feel as sluggish or clogged up. It has had a profound impact on my physical, emotional well-being. I'm skeptical as most people about products and their claims, and I never write reviews, but this is a wonderful product and I recommend it to everyone. Great product. It has brought my blood pressure from the mid-150s over the 80s to the mid-130s over mid-80s, along with diet and exercise in just the past couple of months. Excellent. Thank you, David. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
What this country is coming to, I sure would like to know. If they don't do something by and by, the rich will live and the poor will die. Doggone, the panic is on. Can't get no way, can't draw no pay.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And skipping on back to the economic news, because this just came across my iWatch. Apparently, Donald Trump is considering a cut to the payroll tax to try and ease concerns that we're going into a recession. But in the end, the problem with the economy is we're spending too much on war. And the Soviet Union made the same exact mistake. They spent themselves into the poorhouse. Alrighty, former U.S. Attorney Guy Lewis is predicting that the Justice Department Inspector General's report on alleged Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act abuses will have multiple recommendations for prosecution. And apparently Lewis was being interviewed on Fox News yesterday. Said he used to work with the Inspector General Michael Horowitz, and we've been hearing that name, and he's expecting Horowitz's findings to make Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report on Russian interference look like a 6th grade book report. That is a so anyway, getting on back to the Dayton shooter, Connor Betts. It has come on out that, yes, indeed, he was on SSRI antidepressants at the time that he went on his killing rampage. So he was also on some other drugs as well, like Xanax, alcohol, and cocaine. And so, yeah, that's kind of a real mess there. Okay. Let's see. Apparently Amazon has come on out with a new packaging that cannot be recycled. And environmentalists are screaming that the use of plastic envelopes are a major step backward in the fight against pollution. Well, here is something weird. You know, this whole stink about plastic versus paper straws. And, you know, recycling. McDonald's said, okay, we're going to get rid of the plastic straws. We're going to go with the paper straws. Here's the irony. The plastic straws are, in fact, recyclable. The paper straws are not. They have to be burned. Ooh, carbon in the atmosphere, carbon in the atmosphere. The protests are still going on over in Hong Kong. Twitter has now shut down 200,000 Chinese accounts for what they say is spreading disinformation about the protests. So they're slamming the gate down on them. Apparently, 2 Hong Kong police officers have been arrested over the torture of a 62-year-old man at a hospital. Well, that's not good. Not good at all. Oh, there's the music. Time to take a break for station identification. We'll be right back.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
You're listening to Republic Broadcasting Network because you can handle the truth.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. The history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show, hour number 2. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. And so call on in and help us fill up the show here a little bit. Okay, so we're talking, well, we're kind of jumping around here. I keep hearing this phrase, influencer. And it took me a while to sort of pick up on the fact that apparently these are social media stars who have made it a business to go on out and do posts or carry out actions that will attract the public's attention and influence their points of view and their buying habits and so forth and so on. But apparently this one influencer has gotten into trouble for sharing photos of her motorcycle crash, which seems to include a product endorsement, but she's insisting the accident was not staged. Now, speaking of staged, yesterday we were talking about how, I think it was Alexandria. Let's see. Just give me a second and I'll find it. I want to be correct here. And okay, it was at the In-N-Out Burger place. All right, well, anyway, there was a story about some known figure who I can't find and can't name, had a photo taken at an In-N-Out Burger reading this book, for which she then produced a positive Amazon review. It's now turning out that photo was staged in conjunction with her lawyer. And so a lot of fakery out there. Okay. So let me just try one more page. Like I said, I'm trying to develop a new system. Okay, this just locked up. All right, well, too bad. Oh, wait a minute. All right, 3 Epstein lawyers challenge autopsy results. MCC prison staff refused to cooperate with investigations. Not too surprised about that. All righty, so getting on back to the news. Alyssa Milano, who I guess qualifies as an influencer, has had 2 abortions back in 1993. And she's out there saying she's very grateful that she had those because they have let her experience life's great joys like abortion advocacy. Okay, well, if that's what you think. All right. Okay. Up in Oregon, a 13-year-old girl with cancer has been ordered by the court to have surgery over the mother's objection. I think that's a dangerous precedent. I mean, if we knew that the medical establishment was absolutely perfect and the government never made any mistakes, we might say, yeah. But we know medicine makes lots of mistakes. In fact, medical mistakes are the third leading cause of death in this country after cancer and heart disease. And we know government makes mistakes. Look at Challenger. And I'm concerned with this power grab, which is coupled with a message saying that parents no longer have any say over what happens to their children. And we've certainly been getting that message from the vaccine industry here. Okay. Apparently, over at the New York Times, they're doing a thread on American history. Dan McLaughlin is writing it, makes him look more desperate. Jim Garrity noticed that some important figures are missing from the New York Times 1619 project examining American history through the lens of slavery. Yeah, they're definitely trying to fan up some racial tension here. All right, we're going to take a phone call here from David in Iceland. Aloha, David. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hello, Mike.
Hello.
I'm getting exhausted, just like you. I've been trying to keep up with the news. We've had quite a lot of tourists here in Iceland, especially today. We've had Angela Merkel from Germany.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. And we've had all the prime ministers of the Nordic countries. And they were all gearing up, almost they had a press media and no one was allowed to ask questions, only one questions per country. And it was just like watching something so staged and so prepared. And it was like, propaganda from I don't know where.
Yeah.
On last Sunday, it was all over the news that, especially in I don't know how far it went, that Iceland was melting.
Iceland was what?
Melting.
Oh, melting.
Yeah, because of the global warming. And it's all like just propaganda everywhere,
Yes.
Iceland is supposed to light up Germany and Denmark and all the countries and everyone who doesn't believe it, they're just left wings, hate speech, whatever. It's such a bad, when I was just quite young, this glacier that was all over the news. I don't know if you saw it. That was melting here. It was, on the map. When I was growing up, it was considered if it should be on the map as a glacier.
Yes.
And then when it went out, it was propagandized like Iceland is melting and big headlines, they went up with a plate and it was like on a 9/11, when BBC pronounced Building 7 was falling.
Yep.
It was all, the plate was shown in photos and it was, hours before, the plate was, exposed or shown to the people and public and to the media. And it's just, I don't know what to make of this, and they were all making fun of Donald Trump. And I don't know, I don't understand, Donald Trump was considering buying Greenland and not building a Trump Tower, it's maybe he's making a practical joke or I don't know.
Well, I think Denmark certainly thinks that because technically Greenland belongs to Denmark and Denmark said it's not for sale.
Yeah, and now on the news, it was all everyone was trying to be, funny and everything, and now they are saying that Greenland wants to buy America.
Well, I mean, if anybody wants to buy America, I'm sure there'll be a good price on it right now because it's kind of run down.
I think, sometimes it's like overload with fake news. And,
Yes.
they were using this propaganda, because Iceland is melting and everyone needs to do something about global warming. And we don't have the energy to light up Europe. Sorry.
Yes.
Even if we would like to, I mean, it's not possible. So I just wanted to tell you this. Maybe someone can Google OK Glacier. It's the shortest name of a glacier in Iceland and also the smallest one. So it's all propaganda. I think it's less than it has been on the map, like less than 5 square miles for, and it's
Well,
not a glacier,
I
it's
think
ice.
I think the issue about Iceland powering Europe is based on the idea of geothermal plants, because Iceland has a lot of volcanoes, and
Yes, we have, but
yeah.
it's not possible. We can. It's almost like in the year 22, we are not. If we buy more electric cars, we cannot provide electricity. For our own country without
Yes.
people. So it's all fake news, and it's all propaganda and using this global warming hysteria. Oh, Mike, I understand why you're tired.
Well, yeah, and it's not just doing the website and doing the radio show. It has been the accumulated
Yeah, and the
fatigue
movie, yeah.
from this
I hope,
move
I hope your
and
listeners
old
will
age.
cheer
It's
you
old
up
age.
I hope your listeners will cheer you up by sending you some money.
Every little bit would help. It really would. 'Cause
Yeah,
then
I
we can,
think
yeah. Anyway, David,
and then
getting on back to Iceland.
the media, they wanted to ask Merkel about Deutsche Bank and everything, and it was all shut down. It's all staged. What's the most important question? When Dow is going down, Nikkei, everywhere, everything except gold and silver is going, down.
Yep.
And Deutsche Bank is on the brink of collapsing, Oh my God. It's crazy.
It is.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thank you for the phone call. David, we're going to switch over to Doc in Illinois. Aloha, Doc. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. Earlier I heard you talking about social media influencers, and
Yes.
I think you are definitely right that they are becoming somewhat of an epidemic. I don't know if you've heard about this, but there's a lot of controversy on YouTube right now. There's a brand new YouTuber. Her name is Janelle Eliana, and she does videos about living in a van. And it was really strange because within the first week that she started making videos, her first one got 7 million, her next one got 14 million, and it kept just getting higher and higher from there.
Yes.
And it's really strange because in her videos, you'll notice that she'll have very perfect shots of logos like Chase Bank, 7-Eleven, and then other various products that she has in her van that she's giving a tour of. And also, there was another YouTuber named Philip DeFranco who suddenly, without any notice, started promoting her as well. And it's just very strange. And everyone's saying that YouTube is now doing artificial growth in certain channels to make them bigger without having to do all the work to get there.
Yeah.
And and Susan Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube, is getting a lot of backlash for that too.
Yeah, I mean, those numbers sound very, very suspicious. And, again, it sounds to me like what the influencers are doing is primarily product placement. And
Yeah.
probably, either the influencers or YouTube are getting paid for that by the manufacturers of those products.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, yeah, it's just artificial growth is a new thing on YouTube, and everyone's like kind of, I guess, revolting in a way against YouTube, and they have yet to comment on it at all. But they keep claiming that it's just that they're making such good videos, 14 million views. But I think YouTube, from today forward, I think it's really just going downhill.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, they're over exploiting their own platform. At the same time, they're alienating a lot of their content creators with all the censorship, and
Yeah.
so now it's nonstop commercials being shoved
Yep.
at you by YouTube. I mean, that's the only reason to have those kind of numbers is so these videos show up, in the most popular, and people would tend to look at them because they're at the top of that list.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know if you noticed, but it used to be when you watched a video, they'd show you one advertisement.
Yeah.
And they like to claim that, we don't have any more advertisers anymore. And now they have to show you two advertisements when you start and then finish a video as well.
Yeah. No, they're getting greedy. They're overexploiting their own
Yeah.
platform. And, I'm hearing good things about BitChute and some other up and coming video platforms, which after we're settled in Indiana, I do want to get back to making videos, for Claire's music and so forth.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right, Michael, thank you for having me on the show. It was great to talk to you about that.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Here, the phone lines are open. 800. Hang on. I got to peek at my cheat sheet here. 313-9443. On my big monitor, I have it on a piece of tape up by the screen here, so I've never memorized it. Getting on back to the news here. We already talked about Hong Kong. Apparently, Ilhan Omar is upset at Ben Shapiro, calling him a fool and hateful. Now, apparently, South Park animated real audio of the Democratic Socialist Convention, and it came out very funny. That's on the main page at whatreallyhappened.com. Okay. Out in Los Angeles, people are starting to get very restive, if you will, demanding that the city government do something about the homelessness problem, which is out of control. And coupled with that, of course, is the poo issue, which is all over the place. So we could reach a point where the homeless become targets. I'm not advising that. I'm not recommending that. But it almost seems at this point it's going to be inevitable. So now Lindsey Graham has weighed in on the Democratic threat to restructure the Supreme Court. Now, for those of you who are not paying attention, right now there are 9 justices on the Supreme Court, 8 associate justices and 1 chief justice. And the Constitution of the Supreme Court has changed throughout the years of our country's history. One time they had 8 judges. That didn't last very long because of all the tie votes that resulted. So they want to have an odd number. Right now, the court, of course, is leaning conservative, and the Democrats are very unhappy about that. So they literally came out with what sounded like a threat, telling the Supreme Court to vote nice, to vote liberal, implying that when the Democrats get control of Congress next year, they'll vote to add additional justices to the Supreme Court, all of whom are presumed will be liberal. So this is definitely an attack on one of our major institutions. All right, we're coming up here on another commercial break here. We've got 2 callers waiting on the line. We'll be right back.
I'm getting older and noticing that my body just doesn't work as well as it used to. So I like to keep fit as possible by hitting the gym a few times a week. Recently, I started having a nagging bicep pain, and it got so bad I couldn't even lift the weights. When I was complaining about it to a friend, he told me about Angioprim. He said chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in veins and arteries that may cause blockages. You know, after just 1 week of taking Angioprim, the pain was gone, and now I'm back in the gym full strength. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in Angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. So to learn more, go to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com, or talk to a trained consultant. Call Angioprim toll free at 877-882-7221. You'll feel better with more energy. Call 877-882-7221 or go to the website angioprim.com.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. We'll plant them anywhere you like and blow up anyone. Whip this world into a frenzy, killing babies, dads, and moms. If you got the money, honey, we got the bombs. If you got the money, well, we won't say we did.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go back to the phones to David in Allentown. Aloha, David. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, I was just looking at the website, and the first post was about the Chinese issue involving the Western Pacific, about its ability to strike our bases there. But there's something that I wanted to refresh people's minds over. Everybody remembers Ronald Reagan's idea of the Star Wars project, putting laser-killing satellites up in space, and that allegedly being shot down as a means of defense for our country. But what people do not recall or remember was a laser-mounted Boeing 747 It's already been through its test phases back in 2008.
Yes.
And it is a working platform.
No, I remember seeing that being worked on out at Seattle.
That has the capacity to knock down any inbound intercontinental ballistic missiles, either leaving China or even entering U.S. airspace, depending on what their trajectory is. And I'm not for leaving any stone unturned. The military or our politicians look for excuses to further their so-called military, maintain their military superiority, or look for more wars or keep involved in wars. Everybody's getting rich over it. They maintain their reason for existing. So I'm not the least bit concerned about China's ability to strike us. What I'm concerned about is whether or not our Air Force will knock those targets down, knowing that they have the technology to do so.
Well, it's one aircraft, it's a prototype, and with reference to you're saying knocking down an ICBM either leaving China or approaching the U.S., it's going to be approaching the U.S. because one of the problems they have not been able to solve on these weapon systems is called thermal blooming. And that means that as the laser beam travels through the atmosphere, it gives up part of its energy to the atmosphere, which then starts to roil like heat waves on a hot highway. And that, of course, will basically blur the laser beam. And I know that part of the technology for adaptive optics now being used for observatories came out of a desire to try and create a self-correcting beam that would stay focused over long distances. But my understanding is they never really got it to work.
So the platform that I'm telling you about is non-existing?
No, they built the airplane for testing, and it does have a laser, and it can work at close range, but not long range.
Okay. I always thought that when they do something, it's with reason, but all right, well.
That was a test platform.
See how it was a test platform, but I would think that they'd be a lot farther along since 2008 compared to where we are now. But
well, sometimes they're raising on a busted flush, so they got a bad idea. The theoretical work is really not there. I mean, we've got this giant floating radar down here in Pearl Harbor that's been sitting here since back when I worked on Lost. And they've had it out to sea a few times, but apparently it's going through another renovation because they can't get it to work. So yes, let's spend some more money on it.
What about what Reagan's intentions were to put the Star Wars project into effect? The only thing that stopped that from happening was the fact that it would have made the United States uncontendable in any kind of a third world war.
Well, what stopped Star Wars was the fact
that it raised a lot of hair back then.
It was going to be very, very expensive. And some of those ideas for the Strategic Defense Initiative, they had their problems as well. Everybody was blue skying out there. DARPA was having a field day. And, you know, sometimes just because something is a weapon doesn't mean it's effective. The United States government has spent a huge amount of money on weapon systems that really don't work. So you have to just keep that in mind.
All right. Thank you for taking my call.
All right. We're going to switch over to Tom in Florida. Tom, what's on your mind?
Yeah, good day to you, Michael. Michael, I got a few things I want to discuss with you and with your audience also. What I want to talk about, number one, is this. Trump had a tweet out today. I believe I don't know if you got a chance to see it. Maybe you'll see it later on. About over 85% of the Jewish vote in this country goes for the Democrats.
Yes.
He's asking why are they voting in these large numbers for Democrats when they've been screwing them. And when you talk about the gun issue here in this country, every Jew in Israel, every Jewish Israeli walks around with an Uzi if they want. They don't have gun laws over there for the Jewish citizen. But over here, these Jews that are in our Congress and all that, they're trying to grab our guns as quick as they can. And that really perplexes me because Trump keeps basically saying, hey, I'm trying to help the Jews out, and they're screwing me with the vote. So this guy's not getting their vote. 85% is massive, even if it's, I don't know how many Jews vote in this country, about maybe how many millions, but it can be detrimental to Trump. And here,
okay, Tom, I got to put you on hold. Got to take another
Okay.
commercial break. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Many people tell us about their experience with Extendivite. Just listen to what Glenn has to say.
Prior to taking it, I had diabetic neuropathy. The Extendivite reduced that significantly. Acid reflux was reduced. I had athlete's foot, very severe. Trimmed that down to about 75%. Dandruff, almost completely gone. I had occipital neuralgia at the base of my skull. I was having migraines, reduced by about 90%. Heart palpitations, my heart would kind of stall out. I would skip a beat, very uncomfortable. And when walking from downstairs going to sleep, by the time I got to the bedroom, which is just one flight of stairs, my heart was pounding, coming out of my chest. My vision was blurry. This completely solved that problem. Great product. Thanks.
Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds, up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield Tactical Bipods. AirOutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more. Plus mag-full clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AirOutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AROutfitting.com.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Just pick it up where you left off.
Yeah, Michael, I don't know if you got a chance to see the two blonde bimbos saying that California, they can't stay in California cities because of all the homelessness. Where were these broads years ago when invasion was happening? All these tent cities in Anaheim and LA and all that. Where were they then? How come nobody was speaking up then?
Well, I think some people were speaking up, but then the problem wasn't as painfully obvious as it is today. I mean, there's always been homelessness in Los Angeles. There's Skid Row, drug needles on the ground. But it was a small problem. Today, it's everywhere, and people are starting to get angry.
Well, Michael, let me ask you, going back to the Jewish vote, why do you think 85% of them vote Democrat? Can you answer that?
I'm going to take a wild guess here that it's mostly because the Democrats are the ones leading the charge to send more goodies to Israel.
I don't know if I buy that, but yeah, I guess you could be halfway right on that. But I think it goes way beyond that. Michael, I called your show a while back, and I told you about most of the guys who went and fought in World War II, their bloodline. Well, you never hear that. Well, you only hear about the Holocaust, but you don't hear about any American men, soldiers got slaughtered over in World War II in that theater. Slaughtered by their own people.
Yeah.
Was it good or evil? Absolutely. But, all you hear from the left, without the internet, we never heard that. For who was controlling the media for years, we know who was controlling it, but I don't want to get into that too heavy. But even today, it's just absurd that, you're going for a group of people who want to grab all your guns. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. From what I found out, there's 48 million double-barrel shotguns in the United States right now in the population of the United States hands.
Yes.
48 million.
A lot of shotguns.
You have an assault weapon. A lot of shotguns, exactly. Go back for over 150 years. So you got this idiot Biden, so I just go buy a shotgun and we'll sort it out. You can have an assault. Well, you don't need an AR-15. This guy Biden, that's another joke. And I hear Dustin all the time. And man, does he want Biden or that Elizabeth Warren over Trump? Go vote for him. But I told Dustin, your vote's not going to count in New Jersey. You're just a waste of time. Absolute waste of time. Now, if you had a political movement over there, like an independent movement or something, yeah, I could see that. But you got two-party system, it's crazy over in New Jersey. That's all it's crazy, Michael. Crazy.
Yes, it is.
So, you got the worst of two evils, I suppose.
Yeah, that's what we deal with every election. We have to pick the lesser of several evils, which is still evil, and it's a stupid way to run a country. And as I said earlier in the program, I think things would be much improved if we had a binding none of the above on our ballots, because then the political parties would have to actually come up with people that we like to vote for.
Well, Michael, and I agree with you on that. And like I told you, you know what, Michael, one thing I will say that you're 100% correct is, you know what, Michael, nobody's been arrested for the Russia collusion crap. Mueller spent $38 million. What has been resolved? Not one person other than Manafort and some other guy went to jail, Flynn. But nobody for the deep state has gone to jail. Hillary's walking away laughing all the time. Her in a luxury place in Harlem, wherever the hell they live in New York. Absurdity. Not one person. The FBI Comey should be arrested. Everybody knows that. People ain't stupid. This guy Comey should be arrested. His wife was a big Democratic donor. Nothing's happening to Comey or the FBI. But Michael, think about this. It's $38 million for what? What was it spent for? What?
A dog and pony show. It was spent for a grand production to convince the American people that something was being done, even though nothing was being done. The Democrats really thought they were going to find something and take it into the 2020 campaign. But as so many people have pointed out, James Comey himself sat there on TV and went down this laundry list of felony Title 18 violations committed by Hillary Clinton, and then said, well, we're not recommending prosecution because she didn't mean to do wrong, even though intent is explicitly not needed under Title 18.
Absolutely, Michael. This whole thing was, like you said, a dog and pony show. Mueller looked like he looked 10 times worse than Biden as far as like he has dementia. Unbelievable what I was watching that day. And then nobody's been arrested. But here, it's off the chain what's going on with our media. You got that Rachel Maddow, and these people are praying for a recession to take the president down of the United States. I'm going to crush that guy, Bill Mayer, whatever that's not even his real name.
Yeah.
All these people have phony names. What's going on? Who are these schmucks? We're run by a bunch of schmucks. And it's not.
Well, it's very alarming that they're actually wanting the American people to have to go through a recession just so they can score points against Donald Trump. That's how desperate they are to get him. They couldn't get him with Russiagate. They haven't been able to get him with the immigration issue. So all they've got left, is they can wreck the economy and say it's Donald Trump's fault. But Donald Trump did not create this economy. It was created for him.
Well, Michael, I want to clear Dustin up on something he said about 3 weeks ago. He told me that Florida's not a sanctuary state. Every city in the state of Florida is not there's no sanctuary in any city in this state. I saw it on the news, and I saw DeSantis. And also, they had a parade down here where I'm at, and they rounded up 60 of them. Okay? So, yeah, it's not much, but it's better than nothing. I mean, 60 is nothing, and a drop in the bucket. We'll agree on that. But it's something. And, Michael, until I see Trump literally take the FBI and say, you are starting to arrest all these mayors, all these politicians are trying to save your sanctuary cities, I don't believe in anything in this government, basically. Until I see him on Fox News or CNN or whatever news station saying any mayor that's promoting this is going to be arrested. I don't know. Now, how's the governor of Florida, DeSantis? He said there's no sanctuary anywhere in the state. And if that's state law, I guess it's federal law, why isn't the Fed saying we're going to implement the same thing as the state of Florida, nationwide?
Well, they really should. But again, getting back to that story we covered this morning at that Mississippi chicken processing plant, 40 arrests of illegal immigrants, not one company executive, even though these executives knew they had hired undocumented workers. Now, hiring an undocumented worker, that's a Title VIII violation. And as long as you go on turning a blind eye to that, companies will continue to hire undocumented immigrants.
I agree with you, Michael, until the federal government does their job by the laws on the books and starts arresting these people for what they're doing, breaking the law, the people in these meat packing factories, and the people are coming here working illegally. I don't believe anything. It's all a conspiracy. And it's all about the vote. VOTE.
Yep.
Bottom line. Sheer numbers. Now,
no, the Democrats are counting. The Democrats are counting on the illegal immigrant vote to put them over the top next year.
Absolutely, you're 100% correct, 150% correct. And Michael, Dustin, he talks about all these other conspiracies, but the bottom line is, what are you going to have when you have a country run by the people that are ran away from the country they came from?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yep.
Okay. So, we totally agree. Until I see Trump literally telling his ICE fed or whatever to go start arresting these people in power. They're going to have commissioners or mayors or whatever. When I see them being arrested and seen on the news, I'm not going to believe anything. The law can be broken. It's been broken by Hillary. It's been broken by Bill. Here you got Bill Clinton going on. And Michael, one more thing, I'll let you go. I know you got other callers. One thing really bothers me, and I wish somebody really investigate this, like an in-depth investigation, when Romney was running for president in 2012, Michael, and they had that picture of Obama, Maxine Waters, Farrakhan, and there was a guy who was willing to sell the pictures of Romney's campaign. They didn't buy it. 3 weeks before the election? Why? Why wasn't that picture? Those pictures bought off? What's the reason?
Somebody made a bad call.
I mean, they used Carter's grandkid to go against Romney when he said something about the 49% of people never still vote for me. But in the meantime, this guy's coming to Romney's campaign and saying, hey, look, we got a picture of Obama and Maxine, and what's the other guy's name? I can't remember. There's like 6 people in this picture with Farrakhan. Could you imagine if the Jewish media would have saw that? It was pumped out through all the major networks, especially Fox News even. It's supposed to Fox News, pumping that picture out every hour on the hour. If they were to put that picture out every hour on the hour, it would have changed the electorate that election day.
Yeah, it probably would have.
And Romney wouldn't pay $1 million. It was whatever the guy wanted. I think it was maybe $1,700,000, whatever. He wouldn't buy those pictures.
was
I
a
don't get
bad
it.
call on his part. He probably thought he was winning. He didn't need them.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, there you go. The Mormon.
You know,
Yeah.
these are not always very smart people who run for political office. You know, this idea
Oh,
that
yeah.
they represent the best and brightest, you know, it sounded good on the front of Halberstam's book. But the reality is, I mean, look at your ordinary civil servants down at the DMV, you know, and realize that's the kind of people that get attracted to government.
Well, you know, Michael, I got to say one more thing as far as Anaheim. Anaheim is where Disneyland is, right? Everybody wants
Yes.
dreams all over the world, back in the 70s and 80s, 60s, 70s and 80s and 90s. Oh, well, I got to go to Disney. Well, I'm not talking about Disney World. I'm talking about Disneyland Anaheim.
Yes.
I remember when I went there. I remember I went there in 1982. My brother took me there because my brother lived in Costa Mesa. He took me there, and it was a beautiful place. It was in the Rose, Pasadena. It was all beautiful.
Yes.
I went there in 2011, Michael, and I thought, where in the hell am I? I couldn't believe it. It happened that quickly. And
Yeah.
I'm in shock what's happened as far as California goes, especially the southern part of it.
Well, the other part of it, of
Mind-boggling.
course, is that the Disney family no longer owns Disneyland. And I remember the last time that Claire and I tried to go, and we didn't even get inside because they had this gigantic line in front of a security station, and they had these guys in uniforms just going through all the backpacks and purses and everything. And I turned to Claire and I said, this has killed the entire spirit of why we go to Disneyland for me. And we turned around, went back to our car, and we left.
Yep, I did that at Disney World, Michael. Tell you the truth, I did that at Disney World.
Yeah.
I ended up going to Epcot. I said, I'm not waiting in that line. I went to Epcot. A lot of people don't like Epcot.
Yeah.
Because it's more about, different European countries. So I actually did the same thing, but that was here in Florida. But
Okay, well,
it's
yeah, Tom.
amazing what's going on with the voters in this country, really.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately. All right, Tom, listen, I got to let you go. I got another caller who's been waiting very, very patiently. James in Charlotte, aloha. Thank you for waiting. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hello, Mike. I got one thing, something I wanted to talk to you about, but just quickly to answer your last caller, Tom. The reason why Comey or Strzok or any of these other people have not been arrested and won't be is because George Bush's bag man is now our Attorney General.
Yes.
William Barr was he was the go-between for George H.W. Bush, Daddy Bush, during the Iran-Contra situation where they were gun running arms down to Nicaragua and cocaine back up to Mena, Arkansas.
Yes.
And he held at least 2 meetings down at Mena with people down there because the Clinton was getting very reckless, and they were afraid that he was going to create a situation where they would the whole operation would be found out.
Yes.
And they were going to move it out of the country, and Barr was the go-between. So
yeah.
That's why nothing. Trump is now 0 for 2 in picking attorney generals.
Yeah. No, it's just the same circle of people, and they're all connected one way or the other with CIA drug running. And this goes all the way back to Vietnam, and it has given the CIA the economic clout to basically corrupt the entire government.
Well, let me get to what I actually wanted to mention to you and just get your reaction to it. You were talking about the Supreme Court a little while ago.
Yeah. Yes.
And I was checking in the Constitution, Article 3, Section 1, that you hear that the Supreme Court justices have lifetime appointments. but that's
Yes.
actually not in the Constitution. It doesn't mention about lifetime appointments. It simply says that they can serve as long as they continue to have good behavior. In other words, it doesn't limit their appointment. What I would like to see is a requirement that certainly at least Supreme Court justices and probably some other federal judges as well would have to undergo a review, say every 5 years by the Senate, or whenever there was some question as to their judgment or behavior. And they could be removed from office by a 2/3 vote. And that there would be an absolute limit of, say, 20 years service for any federal judge or Supreme Court justice, unless the Senate voted, unless there was a 2/3 vote by the Senate to extend it. How do you feel about that?
The concern there is that the Supreme Court votes, the decision-making process, would be tainted by that awareness that the Senate is going to be reviewing it. Okay, James, stay on the line. We got to take a break for commercials. We'll be right back.
Republic Broadcasting Network depends on listener support of our advertisers and of our sponsors. We'd like to especially thank all of you who have taken advantage of our fundraiser with FrontSight Bonus. Those who are now FrontSight members, please train as soon as possible for your sake and for that of our nation. And please consider sharing your training and what you've learned when you arrive home. Republic Broadcasting Network has to stop promoting this fundraiser on air and on the website in just a few days. Dr. Ignatius Piazza, president of FrontSight, made a gracious exception to his no media rule for us at Republic Broadcasting Network. Thank you, Dr. Piazza. And once you've been to FrontSight, feel free to call your favorite host and share your experience on the air. We can continue this fundraiser without media help, but it'll be totally up to the listeners to spread the information. Please call Dan Sutterfield in Missouri at 573-465-2356, 573-465-2356. That's 573-465-2356.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When your doctor tells you you have bad cholesterol or blockages in the arteries, what do? When diet and exercise is not enough, we try medications and hope for the best. For the last 2 decades, I have been telling people about a natural method to help solve these problems and more. Extendovite can help maintain cardiovascular health and lower blood lipid levels in adults. The 7 herbs in Extendovite are known to work together synergistically to get the results we hope for. There are many testimonials on Extendovite's effect on circulatory-related ailments. Get Extendovite today to start your journey back to a healthier life. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or see us on Amazon.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied. But you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with, you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Join Mike on the air. Call toll-free 800-313-9443. 800-313-9443.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And we're going to go back to the phones to James. And James, can you just sort of pick up where you left off?
Well, you were about to react to what I was saying about the having term limits for federal.
Yes, that's right,
justices
where
and
we
judges.
are. And my concern was that the Supreme Court justices might be influenced by that awareness that there would be a review in 5 years. I think that's the reason why Supreme Court justices are appointed for life or until they voluntarily retire. The idea being that they're going to judge the merits of the case on the merits of the case and not be influenced by members of Congress. Of course, there are other ways to influence Supreme Court justices, as we saw when Chief Justice Roberts did his rather amazing about-face on Obamacare.
Well, I'd like to see Roberts brought up before the Senate and get be subject to some rigorous interrogation on that.
Well, there's no mechanism for doing that.
I know, yeah. I think that's a problem.
Yeah.
But I get there's no perfect system. I mean, it's you're going to have problems one way or the other.
A system is only as good or bad as
that-
the people who are running it. And you can have a perfect system that's destroyed by bad people. You can have an adequate system that's actually made better by good people.
And we've got a bad system that's being made worse by bad people.
All righty. Okay, James, we're going to let you go here and switch over to Terry in California. Aloha, Terry. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Mikey said something today, this morning, and also you mentioned it before. That's extremely alarming to me, and that's the fact of classifying somebody as a terrorist if they don't agree with the government.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about the implications of that. You know, I mean, we've got these terrorism laws. We got, the Defense Authorization Act where people can disappear and they're waived of all their rights. And, the difference in opinion between you and the government could shrink up to where it's not that big, and they can always find that you don't agree with the government. Therefore, your rights are all gone. We might as well not have a constitution or America or whatever.
Yeah, it's rapidly, but yeah, they're starting to fling terrorists around along with racist and white supremacists. And apparently over on CNN, one of their panelists came out with a statement that white men who criticize Tlaib and Omar are the greatest terrorist threat. That's a direct quote.
By who?
I'm trying to get down to it, but this machine is misbehaving.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm not really that much really opposed. Oh, there's the music.
Yeah, we got to take a station identification. Stay on the line. I'll come right back to you.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero, because World War III is a really bad idea. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show, hour number 3. And our phone lines are still open, 800-313-9443. And we're talking with Terry in California. And it looks like... Hello?
Hello, Mike. Go ahead.
Okay, I heard a weird sound. Anyway, the CNN political commentator who went on off and said that any white people who dared to criticize Representatives Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar were white men who think like you are the greatest threat, terrorist threat in the country. That was Angela Rye.
Okay. Well, I happen to be in the minority. I agree with a lot of things they're saying about AIPAC and Israel and all that sort of thing. And the latest thing I saw was maybe we should take some of this aid we're giving to Israel and attach it to their behavior. And if they got this radical rogue behavior, then maybe we shouldn't pay them as much as we do. And to me, that made sense.
I'm in agreement.
Yeah. Mike, I just want to ask one question, then I'm gone. Assume the Democrats get control of this country, they're in power, and they got all the votes and all that stuff. What is their end game? I mean, what's their vision for America? I don't get
Their vision for America appears to be a leftist vision, a socialist vision, a communist vision, and with all the illegal immigrants that are going to be flooding into the country, they, unfortunately, I predict, will have a lock on the Congress and the White House for the foreseeable future.
So, in other words, the country is going to be destroyed.
Certainly the GOP is going to be relegated to the back row.
But, I mean, our daily life will be ruined. I mean, we don't have anything we have now. I mean, you're just giving the whole country away to the lowest common denominator. That's why
true.
It blows my mind to see what they want to do to America. I mean, didn't they value our country when they grew up and to throw it away just for power? I mean, what good's the power going to do them after they destroy the country?
Well, I imagine they're still going to have the military power, and they're still going to have intense regulations over our lives. I mean, look at the direction it's going now. Mandatory vaccines, mandatory surgery. Their dream is total control. And again, it goes back to that liberal philosophy that human beings can be made happy if you totally control their lives. And that's all based on Margaret Mead, which was an intellectual hoax.
In the meantime, the economy is going to be a casualty, and we're all going to be in a third world country.
Yeah, we're heading there. We're clearly heading there. With all the poo in the streets of San Francisco and Los Angeles, I'd say we're definitely there.
Okay, Mike, appreciate your time. We'll talk to you next time.
All right, thanks, Terry. We're going to let you go. Speaking of illegal immigrants, apparently detained illegal aliens have mounted a lawsuit against the U.S. government over the conditions they're being kept in. And apparently they're suing for more free medical care. So talk about arrogant here. Somebody has filled their heads with this idea that this country is full of all kinds of free stuff if they can just get past that border. Now, this is my definition of dumb. Apparently, a 19-year-old was arrested after allegedly threatening to shoot up an abortion clinic on iFunny. And he's saying it was just a joke, but the police are taking it very, very seriously. All righty. Apparently, Planned Parenthood is getting ready to withdraw from a federal funding program because of an abortion gag rule. Apparently, they don't want to have to stop talking about abortions and how wonderful they are, so they're going to go without the money. They're making enough money selling baby parts anyway. Now, here's a weird story, and it's coming out of Station Gossip, but it's making the claim that U.S. combat veteran and Army National Guard member Katie Williams has been disqualified from the Miss America pageant for being conservative and supporting Trump. So let's see if there's any more details here. And apparently, Miss Nevada, Katie Williams, was disqualified Sunday for being too political. And she was apparently told last weekend to remove content from her Facebook page. Katie is pro-America and against Antifa. So apparently they just stripped her of her title for being too conservative. Yeah, we're sliding into dictatorship. You don't go along with the flow. You don't go along with the mainstream liberal flow. Bad things will happen to you. Okay. Apparently, the GOP is working on a strategy to deal with all these mass shootings, which of course are being blamed on white people and white supremacists and gun nuts in general. And so the GOP strategy is they want to minimize the idea of white supremacy and instead blame the left. Good luck on that one. Alrighty. Out in California, the governor has signed the Stephen Clark Law. This is one of the strictest police use of force laws in the country. So somebody's finally taking it serious. That we do have some out-of-control cops here. Apparently, and again, back and forth between Hillary and Trump. Yeah, she's going to step in. She's making too much noise. But apparently, Hillary has fired back at Trump over the allegations regarding Google interference with the election and started bragging about how many people in Trump's camp have been indicted. Now, I would say it's time for Hillary to be indicted. Okay. I can't say that one on the air. Here's an interesting story, and it's one that if you are trans, you need to pay attention to. Doctors are now concerned over patients coming in and not wanting to reveal their biological sex. They don't want to say if they're a biological man or a biological woman. And apparently, they're saying it's very important to tell medical staff your biological sex, even if the question triggers you, because your life could depend on giving the right answer. So, all right. There's this teenage climate change activist, Greta Thunberg, and she is currently sailing from Plymouth in England to the United Nations Climate Action Summit in New York on a carbon-neutral, zero-emissions racing yacht. The trip should take about 2 weeks, and the schoolgirl hopes to make it in time for the climate change conference, which starts on the 23rd. And so, great symbolism. Great symbolism. I hope she doesn't run into some rough weather in that North Atlantic here. Okay, here's a good one. Apparently, an Amazon driver left 2 large flat screen TVs on a porch in very obvious packaging. Look, this is a flat screen TV, and apparently some porch pirates just grabbed him and ran. So we'll see what happens with that one here. Alrighty. Okay, we talked about Biden. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Apparently, Pink, the singer, is now defending Prince Harry and Meghan Markle over their gas-guzzling private jets. The U.S. singer says critics are bullying the Duchess as she joins Elton John and celebrities supporting the royals. This could get a little touchy. I mean, a lot of people are just saying what's going on with these people where they're going to all of these supposed environmental concerns, and they're flying on these planes that are just putting out all of these carbon gases, and they fly here and they fly there and they fly there and they fly there. That's why that young girl wanted to do the carbon neutral yacht. But apparently with Prince Anthony, he's in trouble. And there are a sizable... yeah, let me move this and see if that'll be better. Is that better? Okay. Okay. There's a sizable part of the population of Great Britain who think the royals are no longer necessary. They really are vestigial and traditional. They don't really run the government. The only thing the Queen does is she grants the Prime Minister permission to form a government. And this whole thing with Prince Anthony and Jeff Epstein, coupled with the very wasteful lifestyle, you could see some hostility here. Over in Pennsylvania, parents are angry. Apparently, Papa John's has a contract to provide pizza to the area schools. Not exactly the healthiest diet here. Alrighty. Now, you've all heard the phrase conspiracy theory. And it's presented as a way of dismissing views that don't conform to the official story. A lot of people don't know where that came from. Conspiracy theory was actually invented by the CIA in the aftermath of the John F. Kennedy assassination. So, but we've proven so many conspiracy theories. I think they burned it out. It doesn't work anymore. Just a conspiracy theory. Well, been a lot of conspiracies proven. Elizabeth Warren has apparently finally apologized for her Native American claims. Says, I am sorry for the harm that I have caused. Okay, apparently Amazon, attempting to boost its image as a place to work, has enlisted an army of fulfillment center employees to write positive comments about what it's like to work in its warehouses on social media. And they're called FC ambassadors. The Amazon claims that real people are behind the accounts. However, a lot of people say there's something fishy, that the scripting is robotic, and that this may be machines to defend Amazon's reputation. Okay. Okay, anti-vaxxers angry over this sign at school, attacks it on Facebook. gets shut down with many responses. So basically, it was a sign: no shots, no records, no school. Children will not be enrolled unless an immunization record is presented and is up to date. Pardon me for the hiccups. So getting on back to Hong Kong, the demonstrations, which now appear to be an open confrontation with the People's Republic of China, have a global impact. What are the forces behind this movement? Who provides the funds and who stands to benefit? Now, the increasingly violent demonstrations in Hong Kong are completely embraced and enthusiastically supported in the U.S. corporate media and all the imperialist political parties in the U.S. and Britain. And this should be a danger sign to everyone fighting for change and social progress. U.S. imperialism is never disinterested or neutral. Apparently, there's been testimony from back in the Clinton era. There we go. Apparently, there was a pedophile blackmail network all the way back then. And we know that's what Epstein was running. Yeah, making a lot of money. Okay. And able to control people. And again, I have to wonder about anybody who went to Epstein's Caribbean island or his New York mansion and indulged in that kind of behavior without realizing the place was wired for video and sound. Or maybe that's part of the rite of passage. Maybe you have to let them get you on videotape with an underage girl or a goat or something before you're allowed to ascend the highest heights of our society. Okay. Everybody's still getting upset over those MAGA hat wearers. Apparently, there's this white feminist dad shouting obscenity at them, saying they're racist. And that's the latest thing. If you're wearing a MAGA hat, you must be a racist. I've never seen the political squabbling like this in my entire life here. Over in Palestine, Palestinian Authority has banned LGBTQ group from the West Bank, calling their activities harmful to the higher values and ideals. So now the LGBTQ people are going to be out there screaming for Israel to do something about that. But I'm in agreement with the Palestinian authorities. I think this LGBTQ, I mean, if they want to go off by themselves and have a party, that's fine. But trying to force themselves into the schools and libraries, I do see that as harmful to the kids. All right. Top official at major college resigns post after getting called out for tweet characterizing the GOP as party of the neo-Nazis and the KKK. The other day we had somebody who called on in talking about wokeness, apparently a new made-up word. Digital media is trying to purge it, and apparently far-left writers are out there saying, no, 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 it's our word, we want it. We're going to change the language to newspeak. Okay. Anyway, basically the censorship of alternative media or independent media is virtual book burning. And we've been saying that for quite some time. That's exactly what it is. Burning the books with ideas that you don't want the public to be aware of. And that's what we've descended to. But it's not the GOP that's acting like the Nazis. It's the liberals, because they're the ones out there book burning. Okay. Excuse me. Sorry for the noise. All right. Oh, yeah. Ghislaine Maxwell was the one who staged the in and out photos with the help of her close friend and attorney. All right. We're going to take a commercial break. I'm going to try and get rid of the hiccups. Join us on the air, 800-313-9443. We'll be right back.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Talk Right, the conservative app offered by TalkStream Live that caters exclusively to the conservative talk radio community. Here you'll see only talk shows and podcasts from the conservative right, all the big broadcast names and online digital shows in one place. Talk Right makes it easy to find all your favorite conservative talkers with all the upscale features you come to expect from TalkStream Live. Keep up with the fast-paced political world. Download Talk Right today from Google Play or the App Store.
As a listener of RBN, you're surely concerned about being informed and being ready for whatever may come. Please consider the following questionnaire as a soul-jarring wake-up call. If you answer no to more than 2 of these following questions, you probably aren't going to make it through any major disruption in our country. The questions were compiled by people that have been there. Are you really ready? Do you own your own firearm for the primary defense and protection of you and your loved ones? Have you ever been professionally trained to stand against life-threatening behavior? Have you ever practiced enough to fire 500 rounds during a 2 to 4 day time frame, day and night? Can you load, unload, fire, and clear a jam in total darkness? Have all the adults in your household been professionally trained? Are you, life and death, comfortable with your abilities with pistol, revolver, shotgun, and rifle? Are you aware that everything that you do to prepare for an emergency is a waste of time, money, and energy? If you haven't honed your abilities to their highest level to protect and keep what you have, do you have the repair parts that will most likely be needed for each of your firearm, and do you have the ability to install those parts? Could you completely clean every firearm you own? Are you aware that your body won't go where your mind hasn't been? In other words, without proper training, followed by regular practice, you probably will not win a gunfight. Well, how did you measure up? Take the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to start correcting your deficiencies by receiving your Commander Lifetime Membership with Front Sight Firearms Training Facility. A one-time donation to RBN for $500 will give you a Commander Lifetime Membership at Front Sight as a tremendously huge thank you bonus. See details on RBN's webpage to make it happen. The clock is ticking. You had better be ready before it happens.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what's really happened?
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. We're going to go back to the phones here. Dustin in New Jersey calling back to respond to Tom. Go ahead, Dustin.
First of all, Mike, doesn't sugar and some water cure hiccups?
Claire got me some water, and I think I'm okay right now.
If Tom keeps mentioning my name, Tom, you do realize you live on the East Coast, okay? You can have 40, 60, 100, 200 so-called illegals arrested, but you know what? There's millions in your state, man. There's been millions there. there's not been millions arrested. Trump said he was going to build a border wall and, and do what he had to do, and nothing's been done. And, they're cutting your lawns, they're washing your clothes, they're vacuuming your rugs, they're cleaning your toilets, they're working in the chicken and the meat packing plants in Florida. Okay? They're not working in Florida because there's an elitism in Florida, just like in New York and New Jersey and the whole East and West Coast. So, they can do some token arrests and stuff, but nothing's happening. And Tom, you said, how come nobody's getting arrested? None of these mayors or exactly. Trump's the president. How come nobody's been arrested? Who Trump put in William Barr, the attorney general, who was part of the establishment. He put in John Bolton. He put in Mike Pompeo. He put in Gina Haspel. He put in all the people from Raytheon, all the CEOs and this or that, and nothing's changed. So I just want to know what Tom's, I want to hear his reason for it, And he says, Joe Biden, what do I want, Joe Biden? No, I don't want neither because I'm not freaking voting no more. I don't like Biden. I don't like Hiawatha, Elizabeth Warren. I don't like Trump. I don't like any of them anymore because they're all liars. They're liars and crooks and liars and murderers. They haven't done anything for the average Joe six-pack. And Tom, you're average Joe six-pack. And Joe is from Tennessee, is an average Joe six-pack. Mike, you're an average Joe. We're all average Joes. And these people haven't done for anything for the average Joe. And they won't. They won't because the system is rigged and it's gamed. And if you just open your eyes and look, you can tell it's rigged and game. I don't know how much more I can say. I get angry. I'm like, nothing's fixed. Nothing's fixed, man.
Yeah, well, I get angry too, and again, I'm tired of going through this little process every 4 years where we pick a president who promises he's going to make our lives better, and then it never happens.
Look at the whole thing, Mike, with the Trump. Don't go, don't let these people in. What business is of his? Like what, how about fixing the infrastructure, Trump? Do something. And his daughter is trying to tell him about the people want to not take the guns away. Ivanka is talking to him about doing something about the gun control because that's where these red flag laws are all coming out now, and some of the Republicans are on board with it. So This ain't a Democrat and Republican issue, Mike. It's just an issue of these people are crap. They're just liars. I mean, that's it. They have their stash, and we don't. And that's it, Mike. Have a good end of the show.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Jim in New York. Aloha, Jim. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. I think everyone should see and read President Trump's speech after those two shootings.
Yes.
I never dreamed I'd hear a more Orwellian speech. Obama couldn't even touch it if he tried. Says, and if anyone goes to Information Liberation article by Chris Menahan, and it says Trump demands gun control, executions for hate crimes, asks DOJ and social media to detect pre-crime. This is Trump. This is Trump saying this.
Yes.
If Obama had said this speech, the alt-right would be just beside themselves. But since it's Trump, well, it's Trump. It's okay. And I just encourage everyone to read. It could have been written by an aide to Elizabeth Warren, talking about hate crimes and, oh my God, I can't believe it. It seemed like the president looked like he was like on drugs or something, and just reading this speech. And I found it alarming. And I encourage everyone to read that speech.
It does seem like, Trump does seem a little erratic He's constantly changing his position. And Joe Biden does have a legitimate point there. Anyway, Jim, we got to take another break for commercials, and we'll be back with another phone call after these few words.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. We here at RBN are working with Front Sight Firearms Training Institute to bring our audience the best in combat, tactical, and defensive firearms training. Whether you're a private citizen who is new to firearms or you have a concealed weapon permit and want a level of training that surpasses what you've received from your local gun range, Front Sight provides priceless education and skills taught by seasoned law enforcement, military, and private citizen instructors to levels that far exceed law enforcement and military standard. With nearly 1 million responsible citizens trained from every town, city, and state from across the United States, Front Sight has bolstered the Patriot movement to a whole new level. Contact Dan Sutterfield by phone at 573-762-2356 or 573-465-2356 or shoot him an email at domedan, DOMEDAN at hotmail.com. This is a limited time opportunity. Don't miss it.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be angina pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves.
And aloha, America. We're going to go back to the phones now to Joe in Tennessee. Aloha, Joe. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, before I get to my topic, I just wanted to respond to Jim from New York. And it's funny how you perceive Trump kind of affects the way what you hear. I mean, when I heard Trump's speech, I did hear him say about execution for hate crimes, and basically hate crimes are a fait accompli, And after what happens, he's got to take a hard line on racial and anti-Semitic hate crime. So that didn't surprise me. And the point about pre-crime was more, I got the impression it was more, I heard him a lot, very focused on mental illness. And I kind of got the impression that it was more about the mentally ill and the people that needed help. And the people that are committing these shootings, most of them are mentally ill. Very few of them are right-wing extremists. If anything,
Yes.
most of them are left-wing extremists. So I actually thought that his speech was, I'm very against gun control, and I'm against the politicization of the red flag rules, which is what will happen if the left takes over.
Yes.
It'll be anybody that's a white
It'll be
nationalist won't have
abused.
a gun. Yeah, but at the same time, I do think the mental illness is an important discussion, because there are a lot of mentally ill people. I mean, the same people that are crapping in the street, I really don't know if I want to see them carrying guns around. What I wanted to call earlier about was just seems this whole drag queen story time thing at libraries is happening all over. It's just insidious.
Yeah.
And I watched a thing on Facebook, a video of this preacher in Canada confronting this drag queen wearing skimpy outfits in front of children at a library in Canada. I think it was Ottawa. And I'm thinking, my God, even in Canada, this degeneracy is going on. But what was really sickening was the parents of the children, like, hissing and booing at him. And, there they are, innocent children are being, subjected to this degeneracy. And it's sold as tolerance, and it's sold as trendiness. And although I'm not considering myself any kind of real deeply Christian type person, I am spiritual, and I do think that you have to respect the innocence of the children.
Yes.
And there is degeneracy and perversion. I'm not going to, I think that you can even be unreligious and say that on a moral standard, this is perversion and degeneracy. And it's very sick. It's like some kind of a weird freaking trend. I don't know who's promoting it or what kind of parent would subject their children to something like that. It's almost like
That's the question I had. Why aren't the parents yanking their kids out of these programs? Who made it mandatory? And who's funding it all? Who's getting at the media coverage? It does feel like it's being organized and promoted.
Yeah, and once again, like, this guy just, he this is what scares me, is when they promote this stuff. Next thing you know, they're going to make this Christian man who's confronting these people a hate crime. And he'll end up being in prison for that. That's what's next on the list. Anybody that objects to it will be some form of a hate criminal, or you can really see the slippery slope. These lefties and these cultural perverts, they really are they just keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And they're going to get a reaction if they're not careful. And I mean, I'm not trying to be threatening myself, but I just would sense that there's a lot of people out there infuriated by this. I mean, I don't have any kids. I have, like, stepkids and stuff. But if they did this to one of my stepkids, or if I had kids and I found out that they brought them in through a school trip with a bunch of transsexuals, dancing around and stuff, I would go in there and it would be ugly. So it's just funny that it's being promoted the way it is, and you can almost see they're staging it. And what really sickens me when I watch it is the trendy woman with her kid, just, and what do they call that when they're like, they go around morally preening, a virtue signaling, Oh, yeah. Look at us. We're so tolerant. We let our young little 5-year-old boy rub up against a transsexual man. I mean, it's the most disgusting thing. I mean, I don't know what world we're living in now. I mean, it's just everything that's sick is being promoted, so that was really the thing I wanted to talk about today.
It's a difficult subject, and it does seem like, somebody's trying to promote it. It's real fall of Rome stuff. And I think young kids should be allowed to sort of evolve their own sexuality themselves as they age, uh, and not be exposed to this stuff, not be encouraged. I mean, we had that story that came out a while back where researchers were finding that kids were declaring themselves to be transgender because of peer pressure.
No, then the kids can make a decision to become transgendered without even the parents' approval. I mean, some psychiatrist can override the parent. It's just amazing. It's child abuse. And it just amazes me that they've really affected the women in this country. This whole act of tolerance is mostly directed towards women because they're just more of an emotional creature. And to see women with, their major attachment is to their children. And to see them subject their children to this degeneracy, some evil bastard must really be laughing his ass off, excuse my French. But, I mean, to see it, I mean, it's like in that Titus, in that Shakespeare play where he grinds the child's bones and feeds it to the woman in a cake. It's like, to me, it's the same
Titus
kind of
Andronicus.
thing that you're witnessing. What was it?
Titus Andronicus.
Right, where they feed the sons to his mother.
Yep.
And it's like it's just so evil. I know, it's spiritually evil what's going on with this degeneracy. It's the attack on the children. I remember when I was growing up, and it was sex education in school was a big thing. They just started bringing that out, and some of the old timers would be like, "Hey, this is going to lead to like bad things," and people, "Oh, come on now, we just don't want the kids getting pregnant, and we want them, we want blah blah blah." And now look what they're doing now. Condoms on bananas for 6-year-olds. So the old timers really were right about most of this stuff when it comes to the moral stuff. And it's really just it's a disgrace, and you kind of wonder how much longer a system that allows this can last. Are we going to fight a war with the Chinese, with a bunch of kids that have been raised on transsexuals dancing in libraries?
Yeah.
I guarantee you the Chinese don't allow that stuff. And that's maybe they deserve to rule the world. And I wanted one thing about the China thing. I read an interesting article about Hong Kong and how a lot of the people in Hong Kong are going to Taiwan. And China really is looking at developing Sichuan, which is like the province of Hong Kong, into the future financial banking system, banking center for that area. So there's a lot going on. I mean, I wonder how much of this is like playing out as part of a plan. And I always wonder, people talk about China taking over Taiwan, how easy that would be for China. I don't think it would be that easy for China. I think that the Taiwan Straits are, a couple hundred miles wide.
Well,
Taiwan
it's not the
has
Taiwan
submarines.
Straits. It's the fact that the United States would basically come in on Taiwan's side. That's what's holding China at bay.
But even if the Taiwanese were almost on their own, it would still be difficult to take that island. I mean, you got a big ocean there, and with the rockets today and missiles and airplanes and submarines, I don't know how you get a amphibious assault across that long of a ocean, basically. Or I don't think it'd be as easy. I hear people talk about Taiwan and the Chinese taking Taiwan, and I'm thinking, I don't know if it'd be that easy. I mean, and the other thing people don't talk about a lot is Japan and the size of Japan's Navy. Japan has a huge Navy. Their Navy's probably bigger than the Chinese Navy.
Yes.
They call it like Maritime Security Force or whatever, but they have a great Navy. I mean, and so that's another card that could get called in this whole thing. And
it could be a real mess. And it's one of the reasons why Claire and I are glad we're getting off this island, because if a shooting war gets going with Russia and or China, it seems almost inevitable this island will get hit, because it was right here where I'm sitting that America got dragged into World War II. Anyway, Joe, I'm going to let you go here. I'm going to switch over to Mike in Brazil. Mike, thank you for waiting so patiently. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. Do I come in loud and clear?
You're coming in just fine.
Okay, because I heard some static on the line, and I was thinking that you might not be able to hear me. But anyway, yeah, I was going to the other fellow that called before me. He was talking about condoms and bananas and all that stuff. Well,
yeah,
I got some news. Okay, here, you know, I live in Brazil, right? And I live in the Amazon basin. Okay, I live 2 degrees south of the equator, which is a really equatorial climate. And I have millions of square miles of forest, rainforest. And we have schools. We have public schools and we have state schools. And what Bolsonaro's government did the past week, he passed, I believe, what is called in our English terms, an executive order.
Okay, Mike, you're starting to break up. Your call is starting to break up.
Hello?
Hello? Okay, you're back.
Yeah, okay. Okay, okay. So I was talking about Bolsonaro. He passed, the equivalent of an executive order, and he actually, 2 people got arrested. One of them was a drag queen trying to imitate what happened in the United States with that drag queen parading in front of these kindergarten kids. And the guy got arrested, and the principal of the school got arrested, not only for lewd conduct, but for interfering with the Brazilian values, meaning Catholicism, religious stuff. And well, both of them are on bail. They're out on bail, but they could face up to five years in prison because of this. And I'd like to see this in the United States. Well, I'm sure it's not going to happen. Okay, I'm very convinced. Another thing I was going to talk about, people who consider moving from the United States, people who are at the age of moving, in their 30s, 20s, 40s, the best place to move to, as unbelievable as it may sound, is Bolivia. Okay, I live 135 miles away from the Bolivian border. Okay, and I tell you something, for $3, you can stuff your belly like you would have to pay $50 or $60 in the United States to get the same thing. Okay, it's very cheap. The cost of living is extremely low, and you can get. I've had people, because I go there every month to get my medication because it's a lot cheaper in Bolivia, and I have people handing me little plastic bags with 95% pure cocaine, and I don't use drugs. And I tell them, no, I'm sorry, thank you very much, but no thanks. Okay, it's like you don't have the police state that you have in the United States. And another thing I was going to talk about is this situation with gun control. The gun control is going to come when Trump is going to be out of office. Democrats will take control of the White House. I'm sure of it. Okay, and they will probably go for, confiscation and gun, firearm confiscation. And that's when the real stuff is going to hit the fan. And because I'm sure people are not going to stand for that. And another thing is I was going to talk about is you mentioned yesterday on your show about MX Linux. I use MX Linux. It is one of the best Linux distribution you can find. Forget about Ubuntu. Forget about, MX Linux is a derivative of Debian, okay? With slight modifications. It's the most stable operating system, and it runs only on 480 megabytes of RAM, as opposed to Ubuntu, which takes about 1.2 gigabytes of RAM. So people who have a computer, they want to make the transition from Windows to Linux, which I highly recommend. They might consider MX Linux. It's an awfully good system, and it will never let you down. You have updates almost every day, security updates that doesn't happen with Windows. And I believe MX Linux is probably the future of computing. Windows, considering their business practice, now everything is a subscription. I think they're going down the tubes. And
I would agree with you. That was a bad model. I mean, I'm still nursing along my legacy perpetual license. It's a way to basically make more money off the software without having to improve it. But again, there are already alternatives out there like OpenOffice and other stuff.
I use OpenOffice. And the people make the mistake. Ubuntu used to be very user-friendly years ago. Now it's they started putting Amazon.com part of the Genome or GNOME, as they call it, the desktop. And I uninstalled it. At least you have the option to uninstall it. And a lot of people have been leaving the GNOME community, the Ubuntu community, to go for MX Linux or Zorin operating system, which is basically also Linux, Elementary operating system, or Elementary OS as they call it, which is a great transition operating system for people who leave Windows. But the best I would recommend is MX Linux or Linux Mint. Mint is practically the Windows version of Ubuntu. Okay, it's based on Ubuntu, and it's an excellent operating system. It operates on maybe 700 megabytes of RAM, as opposed.
Okay, Mike, I'm sorry, I got to cut you off. We got to take our last commercial break today. We have another caller waiting on the line when we get back.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield Tactical Bipods. AirOutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more, plus mag-full clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AirOutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AirOutfitting.com.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at libertystickers.com. Again, that's libertystickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Some are maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far 5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. I bet you can't make it here anymore.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. Last segment of our program today, and we're going to go back to the phones to Glenn in Philadelphia. Aloha, Glenn. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. Heard you say something a little while ago about the U.S. stepping in to help Taiwan. And I guess what I'd say there is, if the U.S. betrayed Chiang Kai-shek such that he had to retreat to the island of Formosa and form the nation of Taiwan, while we allowed Mao to run amok, killing over 60 million of his own people, what in the world makes you think that at this juncture the U.S. would actually substantively step in on the side of Taiwan once the saber rattling ended?
To oppose China. To oppose the fact that China is now projecting power into that part of the Pacific.
I think if Xi Jinping decides to go full tilt Mao on Hong Kong, I think the world will let him. And then if he furthermore then tries to expand out, to Taiwan and then assert more power in the South China Sea, I really don't see anybody being willing to take the risk. There might be Sturm and Drang and crying and yelling and weeping, but I just don't think, I don't see us following through on behalf of that ally, because we have a dismal history of not following through for our ally.
Well, we're going to have to agree to disagree on this, because I'm looking at the current geopolitical situation where the United States is spending all this money building all these weapons in the name of containment, of containing China, of containing Russia, of containing these countries so they can't intrude into our areas of commerce.
Right. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm hearing nothing. Well, and also early on in the show, that guy was calling in about that laser weapon 747. I mean, that was the theme of a movie called Real Genius back in the 80s.
Yes.
And that, like you said, that was a prototype. That was a Val Kilmer flick and everything. It was very amusing.
Oh, it's one of my favorite movies. It's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah,
but the real Boeing, the laser wasn't in the belly, the bomb bay. It was a modified 747. And that hump right behind the flight deck, that's where they had the laser.
Yeah. Right. So I mean, I don't think anybody's going to do city busting nukes. The infrastructure is such a house of cards, and all they have to do is mess with infrastructure and with the grid and stuff, and they don't need to blow up vast cities. But gotta go, Mike. Thank you.
All right, thanks an awful lot, Glenn. Bye-bye. We're going to let you go, and we're just about at the end of our program. So stay tuned for John Stadmiller. And I'm sure he's going to have lots of interesting things to share with you. Please do take a look at that front site trading program. It's a real good deal. And please take what you learn here and at the website, share it with everybody that you know. Please donate to RBN. Please donate to whatreallyhappened.com. I got to get out of here and get back to working on the move. So we'll talk to you tomorrow. Aloha, America.